President Trump confirming the deployment of 2 nuclear submarines in response to escalating tensions between the United States and Russia. Here's what the president said last night.
On Russia, Mr. President, can you say, have those nuclear submarines been deployed yet to face Russia?
I've already put out a statement, and the answer is they are in the region, where they have to be.
General Jack Keane is joining us now. General, I was looking forward to hearing from you all weekend as this was developing to find out what you think about all of this.
Well, Putin, in this case, Medvedev, who's his deputy chairman of his Security Council, he was a stand-in president for him during 2008 to 2012, and he uses him kind of as a spokesperson to express his views. And what Medvedev did here to precipitate the president's actions, it once again brandished the threat of nuclear weapons use. And believe me, this is a part of their instrument of national power. They use psychological warfare is how I would describe it. And they were quite successful in the Biden administration because as a result of threatening the use of tactical nuclear weapons, Biden restricted the use of our weapons. He held them back, long-range missiles, tanks, F-16s, to name a few. The Europeans were onto it, and they realized that this was a bluff, and we should stop submitting to that bluff and changing our behavior. And they forced the Biden administration to provide those items I just suggested. The Europeans, that is, because they were, in a sense, calling the Russians bluff. The president has heard this, and he wants them to know unequivocally that he's in charge here. He's not going to submit to this kind of intimidation and coercion and psychological warfare. And that is the message he is sending by announcing the deployment of 2 nuclear-powered submarines. By the way, all of our submarines are nuclear-powered. 14 of them carry nuclear ballistic missiles as part of our strategic triad arsenal. So, yes, this is much as it's about messaging more than anything else, Dana and Martha, and it's by the president. I am not going to submit to this kind of intimidation.
There was also an exchange last night between President Trump and a reporter about Russia and how they might be able to avoid sanctions. Watch it.
Can you say what Steve Witkoff's message will be to the Russians? Is there anything they can do to avoid sanctions at this point?
Get a deal where people stop getting killed. We stopped a lot of wars. This is the one we seem to be, this should be the easiest to stop, and it's not.
And Zelensky out of Ukraine, his top advisor talked about this, and he said that the economy geared for war cannot withstand the pressure and is holding on only through the sale of energy resources. It is possible to strangle the Russian economy with secondary tariffs proposed in the USA. Obviously, President Trump will make his own decision on that, but do you think that that could help? Because President Putin seems to be able to withstand a lot of pain. If his people are hurting, it doesn't seem to bother him that much.
Yeah, well, certainly he's always been able to work around sanctions. He's not all that intimidated about them. But the combination of tariffs and sanctions, and the kind of sanctions we're talking about here, is really going after the major buyers of Russian oil. And that we know for a fact that Russia is a one commodity economy, oil and gas, and you go after China, India, Venezuela, Brazil, other countries that are purchasing this oil, it will definitely have some impact. It won't have an immediate impact, but it will have impact. And their economy is already struggling with very, very high inflation, devaluation of the ruble. The Russian people, though, overwhelmingly, the majority of them still support this war despite 41 months, and it has to do with how Putin characterizes it. He's talking about the United States and the West encroaching on Russia, wanting to deny Russia their sovereignty and their ability to exist as a nation. That's how he portrays this war on state television, day in and day out, day in and day out. And he avoids getting conscripts or new recruits from the western part of Russia. He gets them from central and eastern Russia. And if there is a death as a result of one of these soldiers being killed, they pay them the equivalent of $150,000, which is really quite stunning, given the Russian economy. So the people are still supporting Putin. Putin knows that. And the reality is here, these sanctions will take its toll on the people and the economy once they're enforced.
All right, so much happening, and it's another Monday that we start off with you, and we appreciate that. General Jack Keane, thank you.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.